Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! In Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. So, I am bringing you guys today my September Stupid Deck of the Month. I figured I'd do this one a little earlier than my last few, simply because I want to give it a little bit of time in case you guys want to see some dual videos with this. I have one already ready for you guys. And I really enjoy playing around with this deck, so I want to have time to mess around with it some before I have to move on to the next one. So, my stupid deck of the month for September is Troop Dupe Scoop. This is a modern version of an old classic, and it's actually mostly a modified version of my Machina Mash deck that I showed you guys earlier on in the year that I want to be playing around with some. I figured I'd try this out after Birdman got limited, which is kind of an essential part of the Machina Mash deck. Just, I don't know, for funsies. And it turned out to be pretty crazy good fun. I don't think that this deck is going to be, winning any YCSs anytime soon, but it's definitely a solid deck, and it's definitely one that's fun to play around with. It is, like I said, my Troop Dupe deck. So why don't I get started? First off, the first line is the standard Machina Mash lineup. I've talked about this before. This is kind of my basis for making Machina decks. You've got your 3 Gear Frame, your 3 Fortress, your 1 Machina Cannon, and your 3 Cyber Eltanin. I've made tons of decks based around this particular engine right here. Just because it works really well, especially with Birdman. I'm so angry that Birdman is at 1 instead of them banning the field spell or whatever. But you know what, maybe they'll come to their senses later. So the way that this works is, of course, you've got your standard Machina lineup, and then Cyber Eltanin doubles as a field clearer and as food for Machina Fortress when it gets in the graveyard, which you can mill with your Card Trooper, which is your first machine duplication target. It's your standard Troop Dupe Scoop target. It isn't exactly Troop Dupe Scoop since I don't have the 3rd Trooper, which is kind of necessary for the scoop part. However, you can do the Troop Dupe thing and do some serious damage and still get the draws off of Card Trooper. So it's still a pretty solid choice for the duplication, and it allows you to go through your deck in order to make Eltanin and Fortress live. Then you've got triple Cyber Valley. This is discardable with Fortress to summon the Fortress. More importantly, it is a machine duplication target. You can summon the Cyber Valley, use the Dupe in order to get 2 more Cyber Valleys, banish your 2 Cyber Valleys to draw 2 cards. So you've lost 2 cards to draw 2 cards, but then you're left with 1 Cyber Valley left on the field that you can use to end a battle phase, stall you out for a turn, and it doesn't cost you anything. So that ends up turning into a plus off of the machine duplication. Now here is the center of the deck, Armored Cyber. Armored Cybern has a ton of uses in this deck. Once again, it is food for Machina Cannon. It is a wind monster, so you can duplicate it into 3 of these guys and go into a Lightning Chidori, or you can use it, since it's also a machine, to go into a first turn Gear Gigant Cross, which you can use to get your Machina Gear Frame or any of your other level 4 or lower machine-type monsters. It also has synergy with Debris Dragon, which makes it recyclable. So once you use your duplication, or if you haven't gotten your duplication yet, you can use that Debris Dragon to bring back your Armored Cybern and go into Chidori. If you don't see your duplication before you use your Armored Cybern, that's absolutely fine, because you can use your Debris Dragon to bring back the Armored Cybern, go for the duplication, then you get both the Chidori and the Gear Gigant Cross. So that ends up turning into a pretty crazy combo, not to mention the fact that Debris can go into Card Trooper for a Black Rose play, which is pretty fantastic. Then you've got 2 Veilers for play stopping, Birdman because it's essential to a Machina Mash deck, and I'm sorry that I'm not allowed to use more because there's so many dumb plays you can make with Birdman. See my Machina Mash profile from like ages ago. Then we've got 1 Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness, because this deck runs a lot of monsters and not a lot of back row or defensive plays. So I figure Gorz is a good move. And then you've got Chameleon. Chameleon works with 2 cards in this deck pretty effectively. It works with Machina Gear Frame, which tends to end up in the graveyard pretty quickly anyway, in order to go for level 8 Synchros. You can also use it to go into Abyss Dweller or Maestro in a pinch. But I tend to use it to go into the level 8 Synchros. And alternatively, you can also use it with Cyber Valley to go into Armades or Ally of Justice Catastor, which also happens to be a machine type in case that becomes important later. And you can use it. One thing I've done with it is, and you can also pull basically the same thing with Debris, is if you've got the Fortress on the board, you can use Mass Chameleon to bring back Gear Frame, or or a Cyber Valley, or you can use the Debris Dragon to bring back Card Trooper, which tends to be the better play, and Synchro with Machina Fortress for Star Eater. So there's some pretty crazy plays you can make there. And then the triple Max C. I tend to do triple Max C double Veiler. It's just a thing I do, since Max C can make you draw into Veiler, and Veiler can't do that for Max C, so I figured that's a good thing to do. So triple machine duplication, so you're more likely to see it early on in the game. You can use it to make some pretty crazy plays, and it's the center of the deck, the reason why it's called Troop Dupe. Then you've got Triple Lance to protect your plays. It's also a battle phase trick for your Chidori, and sometimes even your Card Trooper if you really have to get over that monster. We've got Limiter Removal, which works really nicely with the Troop Dupe combo because it allows your troopers to become 3,800 beaters until the end phase when they get destroyed, and you just draw 2 cards, so it works out for you in the end. And then you've got one MST. I'd probably side at least one more if I were working with a side deck, and then a pretty standard trap lineup. And that is the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why, and then hit subscribe for more crazy decks and other Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. I'm your host, the RJB0. Thank you for watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Business Casual, and I got a jet. See you guys.